Hi guys, welcome back to Creative Frenzy. Okay, so today we're going to play with some scrappy doodles. I'm calling it that because all I've done is basically taken scrap paper from my scrap bin, insides of envelopes and scrap copy paper that I had left over from other projects, and some old book pages and some packaging. It's shiny on one side, and then I guess stickers were on this, and then the inside of it, or the other side of it, is it's smooth, but it's not shiny like this, so it will hold your alcohol ink markers. So what I've done is just basically doodled on scraps, and that's what we're gonna make an art journal page out of today. I wanted to do something a little bit more on the lines of circles and shapes. So circles is basically what I'm going with. It's my favorite shape to go with, but you can experiment with squares or oblong or whatever you feel like doing. I just cut some out of a cookie box, and this is going to be my stencil for all intents and purposes, or my little, trace around, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it a stencil because I keep it with my stencils for other things. So yeah, so what I've done, so this is packaging, this is copy paper. So this is a good way to experiment with color. So if you see a color combination that you really like, especially now that spring is hopefully just around the corner, we can play with color a little bit more. I mean, we can always play with color, who am I kidding? But it's kind of fun to just sort of get your markers out and try different color combinations. So this is 2 different pinks and a gray. This is 3 different blues. So, you could do thick, thin lines, stripes, you can do circles, you can do whatever. But, coffee paper. Although you could probably do this on a coffee filter. That'd be kind of cool if you had some, which I do, but I wasn't going to use it today. So, again, some old book pages, playing with lines and shapes, all just scrap pieces of paper. Here I did a different color combination, just having fun. Here's a bunch of rainbows, just on paper. And then I did black and white stripes just for some contrast. And then the insides of envelopes, which are great because they already a lot of them have already the background printed. And then when you do your own doodles over top, you get some really interesting effects. So I did some in pinks and blues, I did some in black and white, and then I did some more fall-ish type colors, and just having fun with line and shape. Easy peasy, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to make more scraps. I know, it's a never-ending story, isn't it? But the idea is to use your scraps and do something with them. And this is a good way to practice your doodling and whatnot else if you didn't want to do it in. If you're kind of on the fence about starting an art journal, this is a good way to start, and then from here you can take it further and use these papers, especially if you don't regularly scrapbook or anything like that, and you don't have any of the scrapbook papers, all the colored ones and whatnot else, the different patterns. Although if you have an ugly scrapbook paper and you wanted to do something different with it, you could do this on that too. And that would work out quite nicely, I think, personally. I think it'd be really interesting to see how that would look. So this is just sort of the craft envelope that some stuff comes in the mail. So just playing with lines and shapes and colors. So you could use watercolor markers, you can use your alcohol ink markers, you can do pencil crayons, you can do paint if you really wanted to, but I wanted to keep it as flat as possible, so this is easy to tear, easy to cut, and easy to glue down in an art journal. So if you don't have an art journal per se, you could do this on a separate piece of cardboard, cut up a cookie box, cut it up into certain shapes that you want, and you can collage on that and use it as journaling tags or dividers in your planner, or just for fun postcards you can send in the mail. Simple, right? So that's what we're doing today. So I've got my trusty old Wreck This journal out. It has been gessoed. I'm going to ignore this prompt because I don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is we are going to use our little stencil for all intents and purposes. That's what we're calling it. And we're going to grab a few of these little pages. So I might grab, I kind of like the cloud on here. So I'm going to grab a bunch of these because we're going to cut them all out at the same time and kind of see. So that's pretty bright. So let's stick with the bright colors. So what we're going to do is make a little sandwich of sorts. Okay, and I'm going to grab some of this one over here, because what we're going to do, in this case, we're not going to tear anything. We're going to put our stencil over top, okay, and then we're going to cut. We're not even going to trace anything. We're just going to cut around, okay? So we're not going to overthink this because then we get into trouble. All right, so we're just going to cut right around. So they're all going to be the same size, same shape more or less, because we're going to cut them all at once. And we're not looking underneath what's going to be there. It'll be a nice little surprise. Okay? We're not even going to look after this. What we're going to do is we're going to cut it in half. Boom. There. Alright, we're going to leave that. And then we're going to do it again. Alright. I don't even want to see underneath. I just want to be surprised. You can go a little bit bigger if you want, or a little bit smaller. It doesn't matter too much. They're all more or less going to be the same size because we have a little stencil here. I'm going to cut this out. Sorry if I'm off screen. Okay, there we go. So here we have again. And then we're going to cut this one. We did in half horizontally. This one we're going to do vertically. Okay? There. We're going to set aside our scraps because we'll use those later for something else, another project. All right, and now you get to play. So now we have all these shapes and colors and, you know, whatnot else. Now we get to play with it. So here's the fun, right? So you can use the original side, okay? Or you can use the other side if it's a little bit too bright for you. But we have a good selection of colors here. And that's what we're going to play with. All right. So now we're just going to get our glue out. And we're going to glue those down. Now, like I said, you could do these on a master board. That would work out quite nicely if you didn't have an art journal. But I do have one, so I am going to just glue them down. So you can think ahead and see what you want to do with this. That's okay too. You know, if you want to plan everything. But sometimes just intuitive collage can be a lot of fun. Okay? And I'm going to just glue them down. So some will be horizontal, some will be, you know, longer, shorter, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to play with it. I'm not going to overthink it. You can put stripes with stripes. That's okay. It'll look like it's going to clash, but you know what? That's okay, because this is how you learn about color and shape and design. I mean, design is just, you know, repeating a certain pattern, basically. And you don't have to take it too seriously. Just have fun with it. Oops. You can go horizontal, vertical, whatever you feel like doing. It does not matter. Let's see. And depending on what you use, you know, you can potentially get some really interesting colors going on. And like I said, you can really think ahead on this and just try different things. I don't know where those came from. And it doesn't matter if it's right side up or upside down, you know, that is half the fun. I'm trying not to overthink it. We'll do this one. But you can see, I'll just take a little bit of effort in order to get this going. And gluey fingers are par for the course. And if it doesn't want to stick, well, you know what? We make it stick. All right, and just hold it there momentarily because it's such a huge bend in the book. There, just hold it down for a bit. There we go. There. At this point, I don't think we need to keep the book open with a clip anymore. Oops. Scissors make a lot of noise. So you could use newspaper for this too, especially if you find it's a bit too thick. You know, if you use packaging and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to use thin paper for this so your art journal doesn't get too big. Which, you know, if you have a masterboard in this case that you want to do, then you don't obviously have to use too many thick or thin papers. You can just use whatever you feel like. Now this was shiny on the other side, this blue paper, because it's held stickers before. So it might not hold down as well as you'd hope, but that's okay. Just add more glue. And you can overlap these. You do not have to just, you know, use a single set. You can overlap all of these circles as much as you want. It sort of gives you an idea of how you want to place things. You can do some stripes, you could do dots, you can do lines, you can do circles, you know, not filled in dots kind of thing. Just have fun with it. And overlapping is okay because it creates a little bit more interest, right? And if you find you're short on certain colors or shapes or whatever, you can cut some more circles if you want. And some of this might get covered up, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. That's what collage is all about, right? It's just having fun with it and just trying to create with scraps, see what you can come up with, and then having fun with that combination. There we go. All right. Now what you can do is you can cut more circles, which I might just do. Or, you know, we can paint at this point. We don't have to cut more circles. Just make sure everything is down. So our main color here is basically blue and pink, and then some rainbows. So we're going to choose one color from here and then sort of go from there that we want to go to. So I like how we have little bits of the black and white because that grounds it a little bit. And the rainbows are a lot of fun. And you are not sticking down. There. Now you are. There. All right. That's okay. I'm good with that. That's fun. And I'm going to pick a color. So we can choose any color, really. I mean, it's pretty bright. But if we wanted to knock it down a bit, we could just go with plain white. Or we could choose a yellow. You know what? Let's put little, just little drizzles. That's the word I'm looking for. You could use your finger if you don't mind getting dirty. But if you do mind, get a paintbrush out and just start playing. Just move the paint and unify your pieces. So, and it doesn't always have to go in the white area that you have left over, but you absolutely could, right? And you put a little bit more on there. You don't even have to have a palette if you don't have one. Just dribble it right on there. I love this yellow. It's a really nice soft yellow. Oops. That doesn't need to be there. Now I have no idea how this is going to turn out, so bear with, because this could turn out horribly. Okay. But you can still see the colors in behind, which is nice, right? Let's see. Do we want to use some green? Yes, we do. We want to use some green. So that was the butter yellow, and here we're going to use some apple tart. There you go. I have no idea how good this is. This is old. Oh, let's see. I don't know. Sometimes, you know, your paints just sort of dry up and then you got nothing left. I did get the chance to go to the dollar stores because we had the lifting of the lockdown here, which is nice. But I just basically went in and out of the dollar store and that was it. I didn't linger. So I did buy some new paints finally. And I could probably use that, but I want to use this up too. Probably should have stored it upside down. Oh, there we go. Not a good day to be wearing white or pink or light color. And we are clogged. Yeah. Paint gets really goopy. It's like, ugh. It looks like, I don't even want to mention what it looks like, but it's not pretty, let's put it that way. So, but all we need is a few little dots. Okay, I'm going to store that upside down. Hopefully we can finish that sometime soon. And I haven't even rinsed off my brush because we're going to use it to unify. So you can still see the bright colors in behind, which is nice, right? So it's just really coming together a little bit more, ish, right? Get rid of those little pieces. It's very bright, but that's okay. Like I said, spring's around the corner, so it's nice to celebrate with some bright colors. Okay, so there we go. Let's see. I think some pink. Yeah, definitely some pink. So, bright magenta. Ooh, it's very liquidy. Let's see how that works. And they all get clogged. I don't know why. It's annoying, but you know. Now, if you find, you know, you don't want to see all those circles in behind, use your finger, okay? You can get right in there and give it a little bit more coverage with just your finger, okay? And that should, see how much more interesting that looks? Once you use your finger, you can just sort of get in there and, you know, have at it kind of thing. Grab the baby wipe. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab a stencil. We'll use our baby wipe while the paint is still wet. Alright. So I keep my stencils in a basket that I get at the dollar store. Just one of these nice long big baskets, because then you can just store them all in there all at once. Again, that's the reason why I went to the dollar store, because I need a little bit more storage space. So that's what I did. So let's see, what shall we do? All right, we could do polka dots. We could do just about anything really, but I did make my own stencils too. So I made a bunch of my own. So let's see. You know what? Let's do stripes. I haven't done this one. So all I've done, I don't even know if it'll show up. So I just cut out stripes of my acetate. I'm going to lay it down. I did stripes and squares and just different shapes. And that's, we're going to wipe some of that away. But that's a good way to create sort of an interesting kind of background. Okay. I'm going to leave that there, and then we're going to do stripes over here. Just follow along. There we go. I'll take that off. Oops. There. It creates a little bit more. I have a habit of not cleaning anything really, so I will just leave it on a tray by my desk to dry and let it be. That's what I do. I'm going to put that away for now. I usually keep some water in my studio also. These are coffee creamer bottles that you get at the grocery store. I wash them. They come now with a screw top lid, which is nice. And so I store my water in there in my studio, and then I can just pour some in a glass jar so I can put my decoupage brush in there, and then I'll have several jars usually, and then I will put my paintbrush in the other one so I don't have to run out and get more. It does come in handy to have water in your studio, which is nice, or craft room or whatever. Just having some on hand is nice. Okay, so now we have some interesting things going on. I'm going to dry this. You are more than welcome to fast forward through this drying process, okay? So hang on. I know. I wish my phone would allow me to pause and then continue again. I don't have the software to connect all the video pieces together, so we have to make do with what we have, right? Okay, so another stencil that I had made was a sort of floral one, or not floral necessarily, but more of a leafy type thing, okay? So all I do is I draw on copy paper or any scrap piece of paper that you want, the shapes that I want to cut out, put my stencil on top of there. Let's see, which one is it? There we go, this way. And then just cut out my shapes with scissors. I cut the line with an X-Acto knife, and then with scissors I cut out the rest of the shape. An X-Acto knife is not the most gentle on your fingers, so it's kind of nice to be able to use scissors for that instead. So what we're going to use is we are going to put some floral, or, you know, plant life, whatever we want to call it, onto these pages. So we'll pick a color, something that is a bit on the lighter side. Let's see. You know what? Since it is floral. So I got this one. I like this green. I got this one just the other day. Our Dollartree has gone up 25 cents in all products. So everything is $1.50 instead of $1.25 now. So I guess, you know, with the economy the way it is right now, that's just the way it is. All prices have to go up. So this, what color is this? Tropical green. It's very pretty. So I'm just going to put some, hang on, there we go. Again, if you don't have a palette, a piece of cardboard will do too, okay? So that's what we're going to use. Can you even see? No, there we go. So I'm just going to put some on there, and then I'm going to grab a sponge. You could use your finger if you wanted to, I suppose, but I'm just going to grab a sponge. Okay, just a makeup sponge, because I could wash them if I want to, or I can throw them out if they're really in bad shape afterwards. And then we're just going to stencil. What I like about these stencils is because you can draw anything, you know, it's your own signature basically, and you can just draw whatever you like, then trace over top with, if you don't have these acetate sheets, like overhead acetate sheets, you could always use packaging. You could use paper. It'd be kind of a one-time use, but you could laminate it and then cut it out, whatever you feel like, if you have a laminator. So you can go dark, you can go light, it depends on what you want, right? So if you want it to stand out more, just keep on layering over top. There we go. Don't have it too wet, because then you'll have too much bleed through and then you won't be able to see it too well. But there we go. That's cute, right? And then let's see. I'm going to do, so that's pretty much wet, so we're going to do another one over here. Okay, I'm going to move that. Yep, there we go. I'm going to continue with this green. I really do like this green and pink combination. It's really pretty. You can go off the page a little bit. You could do this in white. You could do this on some of your other papers if you want, and then trace it out with a pencil, and then cut it out and put it on there. Decoupage it on. That'd be kind of cute. So that'd be pretty. Whatever you felt like doing. There we go. So that one's a bit fainter because I'm running out of paint. So we can just add some more paint. There we go. And you can do a couple of different greens if you want it. But I kind of like that. Let's see. A little one, I think. There. Am I even still in frame? Yeah, you can still see. Good. Okay. It's just pouncing up and down, basically, you know, just making sure you get the paint in where the cutout is, obviously. I find stenciling very gratifying because it's almost, you know, instantaneous results, which is kind of cool. And repetition, you know, there's something about repetition that I really like. So between shapes and, you know, more organic shapes and things like that, you know, there's the structured, your circle, your square, blah, you know, things like that. And then you have your more organic ones like this. So that's kind of cute. Now you can turn your book over and you can do some on the top if you like. So this one sort of has a more of a curve to it, so we could do that one. So I'm going to go off the page a bit. There we go. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, so I apologize if you don't like long videos, but if you like to create with another creator, this is the perfect video for you, because you get to play, you get to do different things, and just have fun. I find it very relaxing to watch videos like this myself, which is why I do them. Because I'll be creating along with the person, or I'll be, you know, just doing different little things. Okay, so that's another one. And then what we can do, I should not have rested paper on top of that. There we go. We could do another stencil. Let's see, what shall we do? I had made, okay, so sometimes you can take your stamps, stamp them out, and then stencil, make a stencil out of those stamps. So that's what I did. So this one is a stamp by Dina Wakely. So I had stamped them out, or a lot of these come with the stamped background on the acetate sheet already, which you could use to cut out and use that as a stencil if you want. But I just chose the rough shapes of them, and I just created my own stencil with it. Okay, so you can do it that way too. So it's a lot of fun to just sort of take what you already have and sort of go with it. So I thought that would be kind of fun to sort of overlay on this. Now we need some more white paint. There we go. So I'm going to do this in white so I can trace in black outline, I guess. Or you can do anything you want, really. It doesn't have to be either or. So this is another one. So I could do it in yellow if I wanted to, but I'm just going to fold it over and use this sponge because I haven't used it that way yet. So this is a good way of using your stamps. So you get a little bit more bang for your buck, right? So you can choose any of these to have a really nice big shape to them, and then you can use them as stencils instead of buying separate stencils. You know, it's like get a little bit more bang for your buck, and then you can just sort of play around with that too. Okay, that's half the fun of owning all this stuff, right? But you don't always find stencils or things like that. But look, see? So you basically get the same idea, and it's fun. So let's see. So I think we'll leave it at that. You can have a bucket of water in your studio and put your stencils in there, but I just let it dry. It just makes it stiffer and more usable. For me anyway. If you use inks, it's a little bit different, but acrylics, it'll just dry nicely and you can use it that way. Okay, so now I'm taking my all-time favorite black gel pen from Studio Line at Dollarama. Yeah, Dollartree doesn't have this one, unfortunately, but Dollarama does. But it's just a black gel pen. I like it because it goes over top of just about anything. So I'm going to let the girl dry, okay? And then what we can do is we can just have some fun. So, oops, it's not dry. Okay, doesn't matter. We'll carry on. So we can doodle, okay? It doesn't all have to be in one area. But again, you know, if you practice doodling on scrap pieces of paper, you know, like the insides of junk journal, junk envelopes, like junk mail, right? So if you practice, you get an idea of how you want to shape certain pages, which is what I like about this. Now over top of this, you could use alcohol ink markers. You can use paint if you want to. Sharpie, iffy, but gel pen works the best. This one, if you have Posca pens, that would work really, really well. I don't have any, unfortunately. I think that's on my next supply run list. So just having fun with shapes. So these could be flowers. Because spring is just around the corner, hopefully. You could stamp on top of this, you know, for words and letters and things like that. Let's see. I also keep a long basket like this for cutout shapes and things like that. So it's kind of nice to just keep things, you know, not separated necessarily, but you know, you can have some fun with different things. And sometimes you can find little gems here and there that you hadn't thought about, you know. Something like that. So this is from my faux graffiti video. If you haven't seen that one, it's pretty cool. It's kind of nice to, especially if you're not too keen on your own handwriting, it's a different way to, you know, do your own handwriting, but with a little bit of creativity to it. So it depends on what you enjoy. So I've done flowers. Actually, I have some flowers left over from my last video, so maybe I'll use those. Okay. So we could do hello, because there is blue in our background. Okay. So I might do that. So we could do that. You can do the white. If you don't like the white on there, you can knock it back with a different color, but I am not too concerned about that at this point. I kind of like it with the white because the girl is white on here. I think it'll be okay. So we can glue that one on. That'd be fun. There we go. So we could do hello right there. Okay, just press it down. Oops. There we go. Maybe a little bit more glue. Always a little bit more glue. There. Okay. We could use these. These are just little leaves that I drew first, and then I cut them out with the X-Acto knife. And then you just color them with alcohol ink markers or even watercolor markers. It doesn't matter. You could use whatever. You could even cut them out of paper that's already... I didn't have a leaf die cut. I still don't, so it's kind of nice to just sort of play with different things. You know, use what you have on hand. Let's see. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. Just for something different. But you can put little flowers. Let's see. I like this coral. Let's bump up the color a little bit. There we go. I'm going to do a couple of flowers on there. Make it stand out a bit more. These are the faux vellum flowers that I created. Just some plain copy paper and alcohol ink markers. I've been trying to use my alcohol ink markers. I don't have the patience to color little stamped images like a lot of card makers do, and I think they look beautiful, but I don't have the patience for that. So I've been trying to use them for lots of different projects just to see, you know, if I can use them in a different way. And, you know, they're a lot of fun to play with, which I like. And they're beautiful colors, so that's a lot of fun too. It's just being able to play with the colors. And they have such vibrancy to them, which is really, really nice. So I'm very happy with them. I mean, I just bought, you know, a less expensive kind of set in different sets, but, you know, that's okay. It's a good way to try something out. The dollar store had some, so I did buy some from there. They come in a 4 or 5 pack for $4.50 or something like that, which is not bad. Not exactly $1, but, you know, it's not horrible. Let's put it that way. So there we go. Okay. So those are glued down. I think I'll leave it at that. That looks a little bit more spring-like if we weren't bright enough with our background color yet. Okay. So you can use them. What I like about it, because they're so thin, right? There's hardly any thickness to them. And they glue down nice and flat. Unlike real vellum, which really tends to want to curl up when you try to glue it down with wet glue. So you have the faux vellum look, but you have the greatness of it being gluable, so, which is nice. So are these dry now? I don't even know. Oh yes. So now you can go in and put in some more detail. Okay, that's what I love about this gel pen, because now you can just sort of draw over top and really make it pop. Oh, I still have glue on my fingers. Make sure you don't rest your fingers on there, because you will pull off your paint and things. So there we go. Back to this one. It's not all the way dry yet, but it's not bad. I don't know if a permanent marker would work as well as this gel pen does. I find this gel pen has worked the best over top of paint, more than anything else I've tried. I don't understand the difference, but it works so well for me that I'm completely in love. And I will buy this by the pack. I will buy like 2 or 3 packs at a time, because I go through these like crazy. I use them in everything. I use them in my art journal. I use them in my regular daily journal. I sketch with it. I, you know, art journal with it. Everything. This thing will just go over top of just about anything and everything. So it's a good investment for a very small amount of money, which is kind of nice. Now, you don't have to do leaves. You can just go around the original big shape like that. Okay, and just have fun with the drawing of the flowers. Now if you have die cuts, obviously you can use die cuts. You don't even have to, you know, use any of the things that I've got. The green and behind her, because it doesn't show up as well without the black, it's okay. We're going to make her show up, okay? And I just roughly trace around. I am not taking it too seriously. I am just sort of make it look like it's been sketched. All right. And then her legs. You can give her clothes, you can do a paper dress if you want to, you could do a face, you could do flowers, whatever you feel like doing. So, and then we want to do something for spring. Hello spring. I don't have a word that has been cut out, but, you know, I'm sure we can come up with something. So here I have some book pages in here too, which could be fun to glue down. So we could do something like that, and then cut it down. And you don't have to keep the text on there. I kind of like the paper as is. So we could do it right there, and we can trim it a little bit more if we want. Straight edges, ripped edges, it doesn't matter. You can do either one. And we could do it small like this, and then just put it on there. Okay, I might do that actually. Let's see. So just write the word spring, and then I might take a alcohol ink marker over top. Ooh, pink, it would be a bit too much. Okay, maybe not pink. Let's see, what else can we do? Let's see. Yeah, a little bit more contrasting. We'll use the blue. This is the artist series from Dollarama. And let's see if we can just, so what I do is I just go over top, and hopefully this does not smudge my writing. See, you can go right over top. So that's perfect. And it's book page, so it's not as stark underneath. So if you were to do this in copy paper, it would be a lot brighter. But because this and this and this green is a little bit darker, I'm just going to do it like that. And I might outline it. So all I do, like sometimes you could do it in black, sometimes you can do it in pink. But what we're going to do is we are going to do it in pink this time, because then it just makes it pop a little bit more. See? Because the paper's still a little bit wet, it'll just bleed through a little bit, which is kind of nice. And then we're going to take our paintbrush to apply some glue. Not that one. Oh my goodness, no. Alright, we'll just get the other one out. Dry it off and use that. Try not to use all my paintbrushes for decoupage. It's a very bad habit of mine. I just tend to use whatever I have on hand instead of keeping it separate. I just buy the cheapy paintbrushes, unless you're a true watercolorist or something like that, or a true painter. Don't spend your money on paintbrushes. I really don't think it's worth it. I don't, because obviously I treat my brushes with a whole lot of disrespect. So there we go. So there. Hello spring. So what we can do is we can come in with more of the fine line. If you want a thicker line, so I got these at the dollar store. They're Sharpie Pros, actually. There's a 3-pack. This is a chisel, but it's a permanent marker, and it says it marks on wet and oily surfaces. It's supposed to be for on the job site, like construction workers, so I thought I'd give it a shot. So, you know, sometimes you need a marker that'll go over just about anything. So that's what I'm hoping this will do. So just creating little marks here and there for contrast. Just little bits. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Okay. And then because it's a chisel, you get that fine little tip there. So you can have, it does smell though. Just be aware of that. So if you're sensitive to smells, this might not be for you. But otherwise, I think this would work out quite nicely. There, that's actually not too bad. That's kind of cool. I kind of like that it goes over like a semi-wet paint. It's not wet, but it still feels a little bit damp. It's not 100% dry, let's put it that way. Let's see. Again, if you've been practicing on your scrap paper, this will come a lot easier because, you know, you're not too afraid of marking up your papers. You don't have to worry too much about messing things up. And it's just an art journal. Nobody's really going to see it. I mean, unless you want them to, obviously, but if you don't want anybody to see it, you can keep it private. It's okay. There, just little bits here and there, nothing too drastic. Oh my goodness, it's got a good lid on it though. So we're just gonna give her a polka dot kind of dress maybe. There, just to make it stick out a little bit more. There we go. Polka dots. Who doesn't like polka dots? Just for funsies. You could do stripes. You could do, you know, different colored Sharpies, but this is going over top of here quite nicely. So that's what we are using. And that, my friends, is it. If you have other die cuts, like, you know, something like this, and you want to put some more foliage on there or whatever, you can obviously do that, but I think I'm going to leave it at this. If you wanted to add a butterfly, you totally could, but again, this is how I'm leaving it for today. So, I hope you enjoyed this little introduction to, you know, junk journal scrapping practice, whatever you want to call it. Just basically using up what you have and then creating more scraps. That's basically what I've done, is create more scraps. But it's a good way to practice doodling, so when you go to do it in your art journal, it'd be easier for you to sort of play with different things. And, you know, the circle started out very brightly, and sometimes you don't see it, but you can still see little bits of it here and there. And you had fun putting it together, or at least I did. And you got to play with color, and it's also supposed to be for inspiration. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.